What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to 6-Point Survival. This last week in our kids survival class, we went over the very basic fundamentals of compasses, specifically a base plate compass. So that's what we're going to jump into today. This is not going to be applying the compass to a map and actually navigating with it. It does have quite a few different parts and pieces. We're not going to go over all of these. The main ones we're going to hit are the ones with the arrows next to them. So the base plate itself, the travel arrow, the index line, the magnetic needle or the north-seeking arrow, the rotating bezel, and the housing. Before we jump too much into this, I do want to go over just kind of the definition of a compass, like what it actually is. That's the first question I ask all of my students with any compass lesson I do is, what is a compass? For the most part, the answers that I get are something like it tells you where to go, it tells you what direction you need to go. A more accurate description is a compass points north. That's all it really does. There's many different kinds of compasses. There's button compasses, baseplate compasses, lensatic compasses, naval compasses that they use out at sea. All of them have one thing in common. They point north. So the first component of the compass is the base plate itself. This is the big plastic piece that you see here. It is almost always going to be clear. This is going to allow you to see underneath the compass when you're actually using it with a map. This is basically what houses everything that you need. Now I do want to go over the anatomy real quick. The underneath side, so the opposite side of what we're looking at here, is called the bottom. The part where you actually look at it and read it would be the top. The important part here is knowing front and back. So the lanyard is on the back. That's the side that's going to face you. And then there's an arrow off the front. That's the front of the compass. When I talk about actual use on this, we use the arrow on the front and walk with that arrow. That is the arrow that points us in the direction that we need to go. The other details that are on here that you see is going to be a video for a different time. This is the tools that we use to actually apply this compass with a map. So when we start figuring out routes of travel and those sorts of things. So like I said, at the front of that compass, we have our direction of travel arrow. Once we get into actually setting it up, this one will make a little bit more sense, but I'm going to reference that arrow quite a bit once we actually have this thing set up. Next, we have the compass housing. So that's what holds the needle itself, the north-seeking arrow or your directional arrow, and the bezel ring as well. The bezel ring is the next thing we'll get into, which is the rotating portion. So you can see here that that actually turns and rotates. That is going to allow us to set up whatever heading we need to go on and actually start moving. Now we turn that and line up our heading with the next component of the compass, which is the index line. So the index line, or the stationary index line, is a line that doesn't move, and we would align a heading on our bezel ring with that index line. And finally, we have the magnetic needle that floats around inside there. Different compasses may not have all of these components. You may not see a white side to it. So for proper use on a compass, it's super important to hold it flat and level. If I'm holding it up and down like this, some compasses can get ruined. It's not super common, but it can happen. But if I start turning this, you can see that the arrow isn't turning at all. Now with that, this arrow is magnetic. It is charged, so it is pulling to the magnetic north of the Earth, which means things that magnets stick to, like metal, can impact our compass here. So even something as small as the clip on a watch band can cause it to move. I had someone recently wearing an Apple Watch, and it was impacting their compass about 1.5 feet away. So they can make a big impact. If you have a knife, if you're wearing a jacket with a zipper or metal buttons on it, those can all impact our compass. The easiest way to test is to subtly move the compass away, maybe 1 foot or 2, and see if that needle changes at all. If the needle doesn't change, then no problem. If it does change, then you're somewhere near metal. Now that we understand the fundamental parts and pieces of the compass, let's get into actually using this thing. So I'm going to start with cardinal direction, and we'll go through setting it up for cardinal direction, and then we will move into setting it up for different headings. If I wanted to go north, I can of course just look at the north-seeking arrow and I can start walking that direction. But to properly set this up, I'm going to turn the red N to line up with my index line. So that bezel ring turns like you can see here, line it up with the index line. Now, all I have to do is remember to line up the red arrow and the red N. Once I get those two lined up, you use that front arrow on your compass and you walk that direction. The most common error I see once we get into navigating is that people will continually follow the north-seeking arrow even when their compass is set up. So remember, we're not following the red arrow. We're using that arrow. We're using that compass. That's what that red arrow is, and the tools that are applied here to walk the right direction. Now I'm going to set this up to east. So I would turn it 90 degrees, get the E lined up for east with the stationary index line, and then again turn the whole compass where the red arrow and the red N are lined up. Then walk off the front of the compass. So find that directional arrow and walk off the front. We do the same thing, as you can see, for south and west. If I was trying to go a specific heading, I'm going to find that heading and line up the digits with the stationary index line, just like we did with cardinal direction. So in this example, I set it up for 40 degrees. So I would turn the bezel ring till 40 is lined up with the stationary index line, and then turn the whole compass until the red arrow and the red N are in alignment. Once those are lined up, we walk off the front of the compass. So that arrow that's just above the magnifying glass, that's what we're following. And I can do that for any heading I have. You'll notice that some of the headings are not numbered on there. Each tick mark accounts for 2 degrees, and then you'll have a longer tick mark for every 10. So you'll see 20, 40, 60, so on and so forth is actually labeled on there. The longer tick mark in between the 20 and 40 represents 30, and then each tick mark is 2. So lining up the index line in between the tick marks is going to represent 1 degree. And that is it for setting up our compass for navigating. So it's a fairly simple, straightforward process. Take a picture of this infograph if you need it, but it is really a 3-step process. Step 1, we turn the bezel ring and get the heading that we want to line up with the index line. Step 2, turn the compass to where the red arrow and the red N are lined up. Step 3, walk following the arrow on the front of your compass. If you guys have any other questions about a baseplate compass, let me know. Once I get a video out about actually marrying up the compass to the maps, we'll come out with a little bit more comprehensive videos so you can start to see how the rest of the tools on the compass apply when we're actually looking to set up routes and navigation. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you have an awesome day. See ya.